Today I report on the storms and violent weather of the Cretaceous period. I place myself back in that distant age as if I were truly there. Grab a drink, lean back, and enjoy the thrilling minutes ahead as we step together into a world shaped by immense forces of nature. From the moment we enter this ancient landscape, the air feels different. Heavier, denser, carrying a faint tension across the plains, as if the atmosphere itself is warning us. The dinosaurs around us lift their heads, reacting to something we humans only slowly begin to understand. The wind starts softly, barely more than a whisper moving through the tall ferns. But within moments it becomes a pressing force that nearly knocks us off balance. Herds of plant eaters tighten their formation, and a lone predator slips into the forest, as if it already knows what is about to strike. Then the air masses collide. The ground trembles, and a spinning funnel rises before us, a tornado pulling dust, leaves, and entire branches into the sky. A tree is torn from the earth like a toy, and the dinosaurs scatter in every direction, every instinct fully ours. A blinding flash tears open the sky, so bright we lose sight for a moment. Thunder follows like breaking stone, and hail crashes down on us, large enough to damage even the thick armor of an ankylosaur. When the storm reaches its peak, the world around us is a chaotic mix of wind, water, and thunderous impacts. The sky split open, and a massive thunderclap shook the entire plain. Lightning streaked across the ground so close we could feel the heat. The dinosaurs reacted instantly. The fast ones bolted in panic, while I threw myself into a rock niche to shield against the raging storm. The wind now struck with such force that even the large plant eaters staggered. A ceratopsian stumbled, recovered, and hid behind a fallen tree. More lightning crashed into the earth above me, and I pressed myself deeper into the niche as the storm pulled at me like an invisible hand. The largest dinosaurs, knowing they had no shelter, formed a circle. Shoulder to shoulder, heads inward, as if this instinct had been part of them for ages. Their bodies became a living shield against the storm while the ground trembled beneath their feet. I watched them and felt the thunder roll through my cheeks. Another bolt struck so close that the earth burst upward like water. The animals cried out, a deep, rumbling sound nearly swallowed by the storm. A predator crouched behind a rock, not out of fear, but because even he knew nature was stronger than any hunt. I held on as dust and stone fragments swept over. Rain poured down like a curtain from the sky, heavy and cold. Water rushed across the ground, and the animals struggled to stay upright. I crawled deeper into my rock niche as the storm raged above us. Everything moved: wind, water, earth, animals. In that moment, the Cretaceous felt like it was swallowing us whole. If you think that was everything, you're seriously mistaken. This was the moment when it truly began. The sky practically exploded, thunder hammering one strike after another. Lightning shot across the ground like living spears, and the animals around us lost all control. I felt the electricity in every single bone. In front of us, tornado funnels formed, so massive they tore away anything not anchored to the earth. Smaller dinosaurs were lifted off the ground and hurled through the air as if they weighed nothing. A young ornithopod flew past me, flipped over, and crashed into the ferns. I pressed myself deeper into my rock niche as the storm roared above me. The large plant eaters had no chance to run. Instead, they gathered together. Shoulder to shoulder, heads inward, their massive bodies outward, a living shield against the storm. Their skin vibrated with every thunderstrike, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. A lightning bolt struck so close that the earth burst upward like water. The animals cried out, a deep rumbling sound nearly swallowed by the storm. A predator sprinted past me, not to hunt but to survive. I felt the pressure of the air pushing me against the rock and held on as dust and stone fragments swept over me. The storm now unleashed its full force. Water, wind, earth, and animals merged into one chaotic mass. I could barely tell where the sky ended and the ground began. Everything moved, everything roared, everything collided. And in the middle of it all, I crouched in my rock niche while the Cretaceous showed how merciless it truly was. The storm reached a level of force that was hard to comprehend. The sky was a flickering web of light, and every lightning strike seemed to be right in front of us. The animals around us lost all sense of direction. A small raptor stumbled, fell, and was pushed further by the wind while I clung deeper into my rock niche. The ground vibrated with every thunderstrike, as if the earth itself was striking back. A massive sauropod roared, a deep trembling sound that cut through the storm like a horn. He planted his feet firmly into the ground to avoid being toppled, his skin stretched tight under the pressure of the wind like a strained sail. In front of us, another tornado funnel rose, larger than anything we had seen before. It tore ferns from the ground, hurled them across the plain, and caught a young dinosaur who spun screaming through the air. I ducked as dust and leaves shot past me like projectile. A lightning bolt struck so close that the rock behind me glowed. The heat hit me like a punch, and I pressed myself deeper into the crevice. The large plant eaters remained in their circle, shoulder to shoulder, their bodies forming a living barrier against the storm. Every thunderclap made their muscles twitch, but they held their groove. The rain turned the ground into a rushing sheet of water. Mud, stones, and plant debris were swept away, and the animals struggled not to slip. I felt the water rising around my legs as the storm raged above us. Everything was chaos, everything was movement, and the storm refused to ease. As quickly as the storm had arrived, it faded again. The wind lost its strength within a few heartbeats, and the lightning stopped tearing across the sky. Suddenly, everything was quiet, an unnatural silence that felt almost eerie after all the noise. I slowly pulled myself out of my rock niche and saw the full extent of the destruction for the first time. The plain was barely recognizable. Fallen trees lay scattered everywhere, fern forests were flattened, and the ground was carved with deep grooves left by the storm. Smaller dinosaurs staggered around, disoriented, still shaken from being thrown through the air. The large plant eaters opened their circle. Slowly they raised their heads, as if checking whether the storm was truly gone. Their bodies were covered in mud, and their skin still trembled faintly from the last thunderstrikes. A sauropod placed one careful step forward, as if testing the earth. A predator emerged from behind a rock, alert but not hunting. He seemed just as focused on understanding that the danger had passed. The rain weakened, falling in scattered drops, and the sky began to clear as if it had forgotten what it had unleashed moments before. I stepped out of my rock niche and felt the wet ground beneath my feet. Everywhere were signs of the storm: shredded plants, torn earth, water running in small streams. For a moment the Cretaceous looked peaceful again, but the chaos the hurricane had left behind was indescribable. Now, dear viewers, this is how it may have looked millions of years ago. A storm that swallowed everything, a world of giant creatures pushing against nature, and us right in the middle as if we had truly stood there. As I slowly step out of this ancient landscape, I still feel the thunder in my chest and the scent of wet ferns in the air. I move a few steps back, and the Cretaceous begins to fade, as if disappearing behind a veil. The dinosaurs gather again, the large plant eaters rise, and the smaller species find their way out of the chaos. The world recovers faster than one would expect, and the sounds of life return. The sky clears, the last drops fall, and the plane looks as if it had only paused for a moment. A sauropod lifts its head and gazes into the distance, checking whether the calm will stay. A small ceratopsian shakes mud from its face and walks off as if nothing happened. Deep. I feel time pulling me back. The colors of the Cretaceous fade, the sounds grow quieter, and the ancient heat gives way to the familiar feeling of our own world. It's like stepping through a door that closes behind me but holds the scent of the past for one last moment. As I travel back into the future, one thought remains. This world truly existed. These storms raged, these animals lived, and these landscapes shaped what we now call Earth. And perhaps, somewhere deep inside, a small part of this journey stays with us forever. As we come to the end of this film, I want to thank every viewer, because it matters to me that people find content that offers calm moments, clear explanations, or simply a space to listen and breathe. And I hope this film has provided a bit of clarity and perhaps shown how fascinating the world can be we take the time to look a little closer. Many people look for information that is not loud but explained in a clear and human way, and if this film achieved that, it shows that such content has value and that it is important to tell things in a way that anyone can understand, without pressure, without rush, and without complicated language, but simply in a way that feels inviting and easy to follow. I hope this film has helped make the world a little more understandable, because sometimes a quiet moment is enough to grasp something that once felt confusing, and these are the moments I want to create with my films, so that every viewer feels they have taken something meaningful away, no matter how big or small that thought may be. To finish, I kindly ask all viewers to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and activate the bell, because every bit of support helps create new films and keep this knowledge available for everyone, and I want to thank each person for their time, their attention, and their willingness to join me on this journey, because that is what keeps this work alive and makes it possible to tell new stories.